up, everyone? Welcome back to Women's Rugby Treehouse. I am Julia. As always, I have with me my buddy Hattie. Hi, Hattie.
Hello.
We don't have Sean today. Sean is doing things that are frankly more important. Understandable.
Sean's left the
Um,
house.
Sean has left the house. It's healthy. It's good. Hattie and I have gotten deeper into our homes
Eh,
emotionally.
yeah. I'm not leaving. Actually, no, I was about to say I'm not leaving all weekend. I'm actually going to Costco tomorrow. But apart from that, I'm kind of,
You're not. Is Loughborough away this weekend?
yeah,
There we
yeah.
go. Understandable and good idea. And if you love Costco, drop some love for Costco in the chat. Um,
Big up Costco.
Big up Costco. Shout out pod sponsor Costco.
So imagine if we were sponsored by
Oh
Costco.
my
Sorry.
god. No, I bet we're in writing this episode, we were thinking like all of the good folks, you're gonna need to buckle up. We have a lot of topics in this episode that like could get this pulled off YouTube. But instead, what I did was get us pulled off YouTube immediately by very falsely stating that Costco sponsors us. Costco, if you're listening, we are open to it.
Please. I am your
Please.
number one fan.
I was gonna say,
My
now I
Costco
need you to
card is
know.
right next to me, actually.
I was gonna say we in our large group of friends that Hattie and I share essentially browbeat her into a membership and then oh no, see that's gonna get you kicked off too. I was gonna say how you got the card, but
Oh, no, no, no. It's
it's
completely
it's
fine.
for a totally above board reason.
Yeah.
You did
So
not use your
my mum set up her own business. And when my mum set up her own business, because in the UK, if you're
He's
American,
immediately
if
talking about business fraud.
it's not business fraud. In the UK, it's a lot harder to get a Costco membership than it is in the US. You have to be like on a certain list or have a business. And so when my mum set up her own business, I was like, Mum, we're, we're on Company's House now.
Can I
We
get
can go to Costco. And she was like, And then I went on the website and I was like, look, we could buy a printer. We could buy this, we could buy that. And eventually she agreed, right?
it's a
So we
write-off?
went. We went. And the woman was like going through it and she was like, oh, because it's a business membership, you can have a business partner. Is there a business partner you want to put on? And my mum was like, well, I don't have a business partner, but I have one employee. And the woman was like, well, you can put the one
That
employee on there.
counts.
And I was like, well, I'm already here. So now I'm with a
No relation except all the relation.
we did
It's
say
fine.
I was her daughter. It was fine.
What I love right here, and
And
I
I am
need this to be
actually an
said.
employee. I should point this
No,
out.
I know. No, I know. So that was what I was going to say is that I wish this could have been in like a better, funnier format so we could really like flesh it out into like a good bit.
Mm.
But what it really is that you have a nepotism Costco membership.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you are a nepotism member of Costco.
And do you know what? If I can have a bulk supply of Costco croissants, that's fine with me.
You need them for the business.
And my tummy.
It's hungry business.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad we softened you up because we have some things to talk about, and only some of it is good. I immediately lost my window full of the paper. Hattie, what do we have first? Is it what I think it is?
Yeah, so we are starting with the big news, the bad news, the big bad news, for which I'm going to read out a press release from USA Rugby that came out this week. I'm not going to read out all of it, but I'm going to read 3 paragraphs because they're the most important. So, when did this come out? Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, So this is from USA Rugby. In response to the United States administration's issuance of Executive Order 14201, which the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee has determined applies to all national governing bodies, NGBs, USA Rugby is required to comply and update all the terms that identify eligibility for gender categories. Failure to do so could result in sanctions from the USOPC, including the potential loss of NGB status, which means we wouldn't be able to go to the Olympics and Olympic funding. Accordingly, the updated policy will apply to all USA Rugby sanctioned competitions. Ahem. In accordance with the policy update, USA Rugby will now have three competition categories: men's division, women's division, and open division. The open division will permit any athlete, regardless of gender assigned at birth and gender identity, to compete in USA Rugby sanctioned events, whether full contact or non contact. Open division events will be granted following a review process and approved on a per tournament basis. Yeah.
So I think at this point in our podcast, those who are still sticking with us are no stranger to how we feel about this issue. So I'm not going to patronize anybody by saying simple things like trans women are women, trans men are men. They should be playing in those categories. We assume that and hopefully agree with that. But because of what a surprise this ban was, we did want to talk a little bit about it. And I would like to preface by saying that there are some creators who have made some really great statements. And honestly, I would encourage everybody to go look at those. Wendy at YSC did a fantastic one. So did Sam Lovett. Both of them are available on whatever platform you would like. Those statements, I feel like, are good and should be passed around. And when we were conceptualizing this episode, my initial goal for responding to this was going to be to make one as good as they did. I don't think I can. So what I want to do instead is elucidate a little bit about why this actually happened, what we think the actual fallout will be, and I'd like to give a little bit of background on why this is so anathema for USA Rugby. So to start, I just want to address one thing that I don't think a lot of people have addressed yet because it kind of gets lost in the fray, but the reason that this is actually happening. As Hattie read in the statement, this is nominally in response to an executive order that was passed, which states that you have to, as a governing body, they mean for governing bodies that govern the Olympics because that's the only thing they can control. They have no control over USA Rugby. They have no control over 15s, all of which is run by World Rugby, which also has their own ban, but that's for a different episode. So the executive order states that, you have to force all of your athletes to go with their assigned gender at birth. How they're going to do that or how they propose to do that, we don't know. As with many things about this administration, there's no real plan behind it. They kind of just say, it's your problem, you have to do it. Which brings a question to the mind of those of us who know women's rugby, especially American women's rugby. What's going to be the deal? Are we going to require everybody to bring their birth certificate to every match? Are we going to have panty checks at every match? I don't know how that's going to happen. And I bring that up because it's just one of many messy parts of this executive order. The one I want to highlight, and I feel like it's important to note because we have primarily overseas listeners, and so I do want to give just a little bit of insight into this. A unique thing about this administration, it happened in the first time, it's happening now, is, and I'm sure you may have heard a little bit about it in passing, many, many, many offices deemed not that important or deemed DEI or for women, just in general, have been gutted. So there's nobody staffing. There are probably nobody to even enforce this. So that's my first problem with it. I genuinely don't think that they would be able to enforce it. I don't think that they know that USA Rugby exists, and I know that they weren't thinking about us or anyone else.
Yeah, I don't think that Donald Trump knows what rugby is.
No, probably not. Though I think it might be just because he is obsessed with the idea that he is a very good athlete. Remember, sometimes he goes off on tangents about how his mom said he could go pro. My mom never even said I could go pro, so.
Ironically, he is very much shaped like Boris Johnson, and Boris Johnson was a very good rugby player,
Fantastic
apparently.
rugby player. Exactly.
He did
Yeah,
bowl over that small Japanese child that time.
I was going to say he did just right on the news do it.
Mm.
I would love to get him in. I mean, it would be rude. People on this topic, actually, people talk about, how would it be if, some grown man came and tackled your daughter? I do believe somebody's daughter could tackle Donald Trump.
He's very top heavy.
He's very top heavy. His balance is really bad and he's terrified of falling down. It's one of his things. That's why he's scared of stairs.
And he's also wearing heels.
Is he wearing lifts? I think
Yeah.
some are. I don't know about him though.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
is.
I thought he was 6'3". All of that was to say, I don't think there's a very good chance that it would be enforced. But much more importantly, I want to talk about what this means for the USA Rugby community. Um, for folks who aren't that aware or who are coming into rugby, um, American rugby and also Canadian rugby is unique in the women's rugby world in that for a long time, especially recently, they were the two vanguards of civil rights like this, especially when World Rugby established its own ban. Not to discount from other teams, because, for example, I can think of one event in which there were Red Roses who spoke out against the ban and they ended up
Mm.
signing a trans flag. It was cool. Absolutely, players have done that, but because of the nature of a global competition, you have to do what your union wants. None of the unions wanted to shake it up. It's how we ended up here. USA Rugby and Rugby Canada both kind of skirted it for a long time by simply not making a statement at all and enforcing no rules upon the competition. Now we flash forward to here. This is an executive order because everybody knows that it wouldn't pass Congress. What's important to know is that executive orders almost kind of don't need to be followed. What an executive order means is that everybody who works under or within the executive branch has to follow it. And he's used it for all sorts of stuff like, no more pronouns in the emails. No more, like maternity leave, we're taking away FMLA, stuff like that. Tends not to be for something like this that is definitely like below the presidency. Like, I don't think the president needs to be thinking about women's rugby. And we know that they're not. So there's that. And I just keep wanting to turn back to the thing that's most important. So I'm just going to.
Mhm.
USA Rugby, not USA Rugby, not the organization. Rugby in America has, for its existence for women's ever since the 80s, been proud to be one of, if not the counterculture sport in our country. Rugby has for decades been the home for wayward souls. It has been the home for LGBTQ folks, especially trans women. It has been a place that is welcoming, and most importantly, it's something that we consider kind of part of our blood in terms of the American rugby community. It's something that we're very proud of. And when we didn't capitulate to the World Rugby ban, it was something we were really proud of. Because of this, we have now hampered everybody's civil rights to speak out and to speak out against this everywhere from the Eagles, who now can no longer make those great statements like they did at the World Cup, all the way down to grassroots, which is where this is really going to matter the most. Like most things, this is really designed to hurt the least of us. As anybody who is watching women's rugby at all knows, there are no openly transgender, male to female trans women playing rugby. There is one major non-binary player, which is awesome, but is a person who is assigned female. So the first question is, who are you afraid of? They're not at the top level. And before this ban, it was case by case basis for folks who didn't know. It was case by case basis, just like it was in England and everywhere else. People's levels are different as you transition. There is a huge difference between transitioning when you're 11 and transitioning when you're 30. All sorts of things. I say those to combat the usual arguing points for keeping trans women out of sports. Yes, go on, Hattie.
I was literally just going to say, I cannot remember her name, and I really do apologize that I can't remember her name. But there is a player who was playing for New York Rugby Club, who is trans, and she didn't make the New York Exiles team for WER and
Right.
ended up retiring because,
Her name is Grace, and I forget her last name, but Grace, I know that we follow each other. I'm sorry. I don't
yeah.
remember your last
But like this is it. Like she's probably like one of the highest
name. Yes,
levels
that's what we would consider.
of in
And
terms of
by the way, it was not because of a ban. She just didn't make the
she
team.
she she
much,
just didn't.
much,
She
much
just
like
wasn't good
Riley
enough.
Gaines.
No offense,
Much
Queen.
like Riley. I know, no offense, but much like Riley Gaines, like you lost for fifth. Like you weren't getting a medal,
Like
which is often
Riley Gaines, if you're watching this, I would like to remind you
you
that you still would have finished fifth
still would have finished fifth. You tied for
or
fifth,
fifth,
um, for fifth.
which would
But
have been really funny if it was a race of six, but it wasn't.
sorry, you just
It was, I think it was like eight, but
it. Yeah, you got away with it. But that aside, I don't know. Going back to what I had said before, where coming up with what to say for this and not just veer off constantly is hard because it's something I care very much about, and I really care a lot about the identity of rugby in America, especially because it's something that's being discussed in the rugby world a lot right now. Unfortunately, it's mostly the men's game centric, and there are all of these annoying discourses about rugby in America is a complete failure. So why are we bringing a World Cup there? Why are we putting money there? We can't grow it there. We realize there's a lot of money we want, but we don't know how to get it. So we're mad. Okay. Know what is succeeding? Women's rugby in America. We're very successful. We had a disappointing World Cup, but it's not usual for us. We won our first Olympic medal. Michelle Kang dumped $4 million into us, and it's not because we're not exciting. It's not because people feel bad for us. We sold out CP Casey. It's not because people feel bad for us.
and like I feel when we're talking about this and we're talking about how other people produce these really, really well thought out statements and we've just chatted shit, right? One, what else did you expect from us? Two, um, what we really, really want to get across to people is yes, this is bad. Yes, if you're in the States, if you're out of the States, USA Rugby, one, they're probably not going to overturn their decision, let's be frank, but we can kick up enough of a fuss that they have to listen. Um, there is a very clear reason as to why they've done this. They don't want to lose their Olympic funding, and Paralympic, because USA Rugby does look
Thank
after
you.
the wheelchair rugby team, which got silver in the last Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
So Olympic and Paralympic funding there. Um, as Julia said, they probably nobody would have noticed whether they'd put this out or not, but they capitulated anyway. But this is why when people say don't bring politics into sport, don't talk about politics in sport, they're intrinsically linked. Um, and
Sport is deeply, first of all, sport is deeply political. Some of our most iconic images from sport of all time are political.
uh,
It's silly not to.
and in this particular case, this is an infringement on human rights and people, and it's just another bad thing. I do have something which I promised Julia I would show her because it made me laugh. It's not good.
Oh god damn it. I was like, maybe it's like actually funny.
No, it
It's
is funny.
is it haha cry or haha laugh?
I don't know. Um,
Yeah, so it's both. Let's see it.
right, so can
Or do I
you
have to look something up? Yeah?
oh no, I'll share it with you. Can you see my
Oh,
screen?
yes.
Very apologies to our audio listeners, but I've Googled when I was doing this, I Googled USA trans ban because I wanted to get some articles, right? And the first thing that pops up is USA Rugby strictly prohibits discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. And it links you to a transgender athlete policy on the USA Rugby website. However, when you click it, 404 page not found.
And like
Let's see if it does it
what
again. Yep.
yeah, no, absolutely. It's absolutely gone. This was absolutely done in conjunction for sure.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
it,
that
it,
is
it
just
did make me laugh that that was the first.
it is just and you're right, I do find it haha slash cry funny because and this is absolutely, if you are an American listener, it's probably the only way you know this. Everybody else, don't worry about this, but it is a thing that we monitor for those of us who are monitoring the situation, capital MTS, monitoring the situation here in America. One of the first things that we notice often when big changes are coming is that they start deleting all these websites on government websites. So them doing this is very much, I'm just like, oh, so we're going all in. We're going all in on their thing. Awesome. We're going to lose all our identity. All I wanted to conclude here is since, and the reason that I was bringing it up right before is because since we're bringing up the topic that we do have American World Cups coming, there are a lot of things to worry about. The trans women that have not made the team and probably won't make the team, because we would have heard of them by now if they were going to be there for the next World Cup. Probably would have heard of them much longer if they were going to be on the national radar. I can't even think of anybody in the academies. I genuinely don't know of anybody higher up than Grace and
No, literally,
protein.
like I can think of players who are assigned female at birth who use they them pronouns, and that is literally
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And by the way, see, I was gonna veer off and it was just gonna be more yelling. But if you ever celebrated that announcement and you don't, I mean, okay, it's probably very unlikely that you celebrated that and celebrate the trans fan. It's probably not. But if you are somebody who celebrates Israel and Rochester being in the game, I would hope that you have the same gas for them as you do for this, because I do know that if we could have them on the pod and if we asked them directly, they would say that they are against this. And in fact, recently made a statement to this effect. And some people understandably kind of knee-jerk reacted to it. Not knee-jerk in a bad way, but just it feels to especially trans women, but there are trans men who play rugby, and it really sucks that I don't get to talk about them at all right now. But yet something else, nobody talked at all about doing testosterone level testing. That's not what anybody's talking about.
This is what bothers me, right? And when we talk about like USA Rugby historically is obviously something that I'm very interested in, but when you go back and look at the 1991 Women's World Cup winning team,
the gayest team you've ever seen.
It is the gayest team I have ever seen.
It is team you've ever
full
seen.
of the butchest mullets women I have ever seen, right?
So I've been thinking about this too, actually, like, because of it being back, our pictures at the next like big at like WXV might look like the 91 team, and it'd be very funny. Sorry, go on.
The thing is, like, what people just and we're seeing it more now, and people ignore it, especially in the UK, like TERFs who just that I've seen TERFs get offended by it happening.
Will not take this point,
or they ignore it.
Cannot take this.
It's the fact that this affects butch women.
Thank you. Okay, so that was where I wanted to end up, and I wanted
like
to
Hannah Bottoman has talked about how she gets called a man, and this like this is going to disproportionately affect butch women. It's also disproportionately going to affect women of color, specifically Black women.
Without question. And we know this, and here's where I get really frustrated, because like much of hatred in general, this is cyclical. We've seen all of this before, and we know who it's going to go for first. When you think about the we can always tell folks have gone after recently, it is Amon Khalif, woman of color, Castor Semenya, woman of color. And when I think about rugby, and when I think about the things
Brigitte
that especially
Macron, middle-aged woman.
There you go. I don't know why I didn't think of that one. But you're right. And it's something that understandably folks don't talk about. Sometimes they aren't members of the LGBTQ community. Totally fine. Sometimes, they have more important things to say. I think a lot about Wendy's statement, because it was so great, out of YSC. It was fantastic, but I think about Wendy as, I hope, Wendy, you can consider me a friend. I consider you a friend. I think about you as my friend and a butch presenting woman. And like, I know, and I know that she's not alone. That is so much of the rugby community. And you know what? Even if it's not in some places, yes, absolutely. Some countries don't have a lot of butch women for whatever reason. But my country, the team that I love the most, has a lot of butch women, has a lot of women of color. And that's absolutely who it's going to be first. And it's not going to stop at the ones you can always tell about, because, by the way, you're all wrong. You always get it wrong. You can't clock anybody.
You're never bad right.
At it. You're bad at it. Like, it's very funny to goad you with it, because, like, you're bad at it. And by the way, like with most things, the people who are the best at telling don't talk about it, because that's fucked up. Why would you? It's weird.
And also, I have to be honest, I couldn't really give a shit.
Right. And so that was what I wanted to end up with. Other than all of the very important cultural things, what really kills me, and because we're going to be going into PWR later, I feel good about like bringing this to like start merging our other topics together. But Bristol Bears put out a really cute video of Kira Bevan and her dad talking about her growing up, and she said something that you hear from literally every rugby player at the elite level, especially if they're from the UK, especially if they're from England or Wales. Um, Everybody plays with boys. I did.
Yeah.
And America got rugby way later. I played with boys. I played with men, in fact. And I was a woman who had gone through cis puberty. They were all men who had gone through cis puberty. But I can't think of a college play of somebody who played in college who is my age now who did not play with men. That doesn't scare me. Not even to start going into the fact that yes, I have played against trans women. We all in America have, and by the way, if you played in the UK, so everyone has. Like all the science shows, turns out science is right. There is no difference. When I do have to tell this story to other Americans, I had on one team that I played on here in Virginia, I did have one trans teammate, but there is another trans player who always played for the one team in my region that I never played for. So I played against her almost my entire career. She was very good, couldn't make any selects teams, but still pretty good. But I can't think of a time, even when she ran straight for me, that I was afraid. She was better than I was. She was stronger than I was. Just because she was tall. It
But
really didn't.
Julia's version of tall is skewed because
Is
she's
anybody?
tiny.
Is anybody exactly? Well, and so isn't that really the thing? It just really gets me when, and that is so often the argument that is brought up is that it's because I care about women. Name a women's rugby team. I can't. We know. Wait, you don't watch women's rugby. If you did, you would know that I'm trying to think of like a really good example that people would know, because my first one thinking is one that I see a lot because the Sail Sharks posted a lot, but Olivia Ortiz and Carmen Castellucci standing together when they are like a foot and a half apart. It's very funny. I've never heard you complain about the Sail Sharks. I've
I've never
never
heard
heard
people
anybody
complain
complain about
about
Linda
Craig
Van de Velden.
Casey. Craig Casey being too small to play men's rugby. Isn't he at a
And
disadvantage
so
having to play against all those big men?
and so that's what really gets me too. You don't even have to you don't even have to, be a huge ball knower for women's, though both of us are. But I think about a team that absolutely everybody who knows anything about rugby knows, the Springboks. I think about Faf and anyone. Faf and anyone. No problem. No problem. Nobody talked about the risks. Linda Van de Velden, who's 6'1". I'm trying to think of somebody super short on the Chiefs, but they exist, and people smash against Linda Van de Velden all the time. She plays for the Dutch. She's not considered a superstar, despite that she is physically very advantaged. If you are coming to me with the physical argument, I just know you don't watch rugby. All I ask in people responding to this is this, and this is going to be pithy, but it's how I'm going to end it. New rule. Nobody listens to my rules anyway, so I like making new rules. New rule. For anybody who wants to have a substantive debate with me about it, you have to first send me a receipt of you donating money to a women's rugby team. Then we get to have an introductory conversation about it. If you want to go in depth, and if you want to start like using stuff that makes me mad, you do have to send me a picture of you having played with I will always have mine ready. I'll have it in a folder for, transphobes who are going to beat me. But unless you know more ball than I do, I promise you, this is really going to bite us in the ass. This is really going to damage the community that we have built here painstakingly, I might add, since the 80s. In a country that, as we have just gone over a few times, in a country that, a lot of the rugby community, a lot of the rugby world, doesn't want to see us succeed. We already have enough against us. Why would we divide this community, this beautiful community that we built, by the way, on the backs of such as those women that we see in the 1991 picture, that's built off the backs of those people why wouldn't you trust us to know what's best for our community? Um, you wouldn't tell the men's game this. You wouldn't tell the men's game that they don't know what's best for them.
Mm-hmm.
What we've seen now is a lot of people who claim that they are looking out for the best interests of women, telling the women who play that they don't know what they're talking about. So in the future, I really recommend if you try to step to somebody who has a good defense like this, I really hope you've been giving them money. I really hope you played women's rugby. I hope if nothing else, this shortens a lot of fuses of some people who are really patient and who do argue with these people in good faith. They're not here in good faith. I don't feel like we have to be either. And with that, I will end it on speaking of our friend Wendy Young with YSC. She is spearheading it, but it's a coalition of several, including Rugby for All, and I'm sure Sam Lovett is involved in some way as well. There is a fight back. There are a few different ideas being bandied about, and I just wanted to end on a positive. I feel there are two competing ideas. I kind of fall pretty heavily on one side. The number one idea right now is that every club should register as open. I don't subscribe to that one, but I am an unabashed supporter of collective action. So if that's what the community goes for,
And
okay.
malicious compliance, I feel.
Malicious compliance is the direction I would go in. I do understand, and the thing is, the stakes are really high. Nobody wants to get deregistered from USA Rugby. Nobody wants to waste all of that time and money that they for sure spent, because this is not soccer in America. We do not get people just coming in all the time. It takes a lot to get people in to play the sport. Yeah, I lost it there, but
What you were saying, the option that you want to go for.
oh, the option that I want to go to is one with malicious compliance in general, because I genuinely believe that nobody is going to. But, since we do want this ideally to be actionable all the way to the very top, at the very top, yes, probably there would be birth certificate checks. That's how it's been historically. You have to do that for eligibility for nation too. Or, I mean, yeah, they get piss tested. I guess you could do tests on that. That's so dystopian. Do you want panty checks at your matches? So what I would say is no. Everybody stay in the women's division. Nobody register open. Just don't. Just don't.
I know we keep
Why?
trying to wrap this
Why?
up, right? I
Sure,
know,
but it's something that matters, and we don't cover it very often, so I don't
no.
feel bad.
The open division has
You will not
honestly
get. You
pissed
will
me
not
off
get to
more than
compete.
anything.
Oh, me too. And so this has been the one thing
And
that's
it
very hard.
feels like segregate. Well, it is segregation.
It is
But
segregation. No, but that's what it literally is. It's separate
and,
but
and,
equal. It's literally what it is.
and it's really difficult because the USA
First of
has
all,
a
first of
history
all,
of segregating sport,
yes,
and this is
yes.
just another one. And it's like, well, first of all, what are you going to do in that open division? Which, by the way, you've said, not you, but the USA Rugby have said, well, we're going to check it. It's our
No, you're
discretion.
not. No, you're not. We don't even have
So,
enough money to. We don't have enough money to rent pitches. No, you're not. You're not sending
so,
all of our blood to
so,
LabCorp. Be quiet.
so either it's just not going to happen, or which honestly, this part scares me, and you might want to skip forward if this is something that you're sensitive to. So warning here. Um, but it does worry me that any form of open category that is posted online, like a game, and it's
Absolutely,
advertised it's open competition, that you are
absolutely,
going to have fucking nut jobs turning up.
absolutely. And you will get your. And by the way, all of that. Absolutely, you're dead on. Luckily, and this is one tiny difference between our two, like, I guess I would say nations, but obviously UK is several nations. The one good thing is that generally in America, transphobes don't like to show their face. They don't do the like getting together and having the like women won't shut up. I'm not going to say the stupid word. Um, women won't shut up and we won't whatever. They all get together, like everybody kind of laughs at them. If it happened here, like there
If
would
you
be
want to
street
go to
fights. We
Marks and
would.
Spencer's to harass some shop workers with your scarf, you just
That.
look like a
Um,
bellend.
you look like a bellend. And by the way, not even like a oh, there's no such thing as a cool bell end, but you don't look like you're a hero.
You're
Everybody looks
just
at
a
you and you look like a nut
dork.
job. You look like
You're just
you
a
look like a
dorky
dork.
nut job.
And so that's where I want to go with this. If, yes, first of all, it will create a target. But more to the point, because of an overarching fact that goes for every nation, there isn't even certain nations that have like a lot of trans, like no trans, whatever. Nobody has a lot. Nobody has a lot. So it will mostly just be women's clubs, because one thing you know for sure, zero men's clubs would sign up for open. Zero. Even men's clubs, which by the way, I hate to keep going back to it, but nobody has said anything about panty checks on the men's game. And trans men exist. I know that it's hard for people to understand, but trans men exist. There are trans men who play rugby at like almost a high level. I mean, there's Elia Green,
I was
who
about to say, there's literally a gold medalist who plays.
there's a gold medalist who now plays for the men's team in her nation, or in his nation, because he is so fucking good that he had to stand
Allowed to
down.
play internationally, mind, but
Right.
they play at
And
a
of
high level.
course,
He plays at a high level, yeah.
right. Yeah, actually, I'm curious about that, but that's for another time. But I think if they could, the Wallabies would absolutely take Elliot Green. But all of that is to say, you are putting the people that you are claiming to protect at risk, and then also to get a little rugby with it. Like, I don't want to play in a league where I can't win national.
Like,
Who does?
we're
Who
talking
wants to play in a league where you don't get to win everything? All they tell you is that you're other. And then, by the way, the only time that it matters is like once or twice a year, maybe, kind of. Otherwise, you're just playing worse club rugby. No.
But like the USA, you're quite often you're traveling to train long distances. You're then traveling insanely long distances to play anyway, to play a game.
And
Do
and
people
by
not
and
realize
like
how few trans people there actually are, let alone trans
there are so
rugby?
many. Like, that's
You're
my thing. And then
disenfranchising maybe 20 people.
yes, exactly. I don't know if the number is correct, so I didn't want to quote it, but I did see yet another funny clip where a guy was posing as a USA Rugby employee, and he's calling up random people, and he's just like, "We thought like it might be better to like get people's opinions or whatever," and then like the caller is and it is instead complaining about all the other problems they have with USA Rugby, and it's funny. But he said in it that it was 14. I don't know if that's true, but I do think it's probably between 14 and 20. But yeah, it either 14 was thrown out as a funny number, but like it probably really is around that. And I do remember it was 4 in England.
Yeah.
I do
And
remember
in
that.
Wales it was 0.
It was 0. In Scotland it was 0. In
In
Ireland,
Ireland, I
I don't
think
know.
it was 0 as well.
Probably 0. In Northern Ireland, I'm gonna say 0. So yeah, I wish I had a more cinematic, a more cohesive way to tie this up. But there are so many reasons why this ban is damaging. It's completely anathema to you, like to American rugby. I just keep saying it because I think about my career and I think about how long I've been a proponent of the game outside of playing. Fuck you.
USA
Fuck you. Fuck you
Rugby.
for ruining. Fuck you for ruining something that you know is beautiful and that for so long you have stood behind and cheered us on and shared our wins and commiserated us for our losses. And the one time that they needed you to actually protect them, you did this is really bad. Sorry, go on.
I was literally just gonna say we've talked a lot about women's rugby in the US being counterculture, etc., etc. But the only active international male rugby player who has come out as gay was American.
Yep, that's right. And
So,
it was something we were really proud of. Do you remember? And I'm talking to USA Rugby. I know everybody who's listening and watching cares, but USA Rugby doesn't, and that's really pathetic.
and this is
I
honestly to
think
USA Rugby. Stop being a bunch of pussies.
grow up. Grow up. It costs, it will, and you know it. You are here too. You know it will cost you nothing to just ignore it.
Yeah.
Grow up.
And with that, we're moving to a competition which costs most unions involved nothing.
It
Because the
costs them
budget
nothing.
is
And they pay them.
50p.
And they pay them nothing.
It's the Celtic Challenge.
We're going to more
What a
good news.
segue.
I feel like it was really smooth. I feel like if we had Sean here, she would have stopped me a long time ago, which she probably should have.
This is why Sean shouldn't leave us. We've had temp
This is
issues.
it's unsafe. Oh my god, that's actually true. The only time I've had luck is when Sean is present.
Yeah. Um,
And
so with that, would you like to go through the Celtic Challenge standings that I sent you? If not,
yes.
I can run through them.
Yes, I do. I told you that I had to go and chat you and tell you that it shut down and I didn't open it back up. Hold on.
We're so
I do have,
professional, guys.
oh my god, this is a real podcast with real people.
But do you know what? Last time we were really on it, and people complained that there wasn't enough bullshit. So,
I know, and so I made sure there's gonna be a lot of bullshit later, and there's already bullshit.
oh,
Yes,
we're
so
yeah,
we're going.
it's about to get
So the
worse.
standings that I know, but it's gonna be stuff that doesn't make me like viscerally angry.
Yeah.
Wolfhound's 39 with standings 39 points with 8 wins and a points difference of 258. We've got the Clovers, so we've got the 2 Irish teams at the top. We've got the Clovers with 36 points with 8 wins. We've got Gwalia Lightning with 23 points and 4 wins. Brython is matching them. Brython Thunder with 18 points and 4 wins. We'll talk more about that in a moment. We've learned more. Fifth, we've got Glasgow Warriors at 16 points with 2 wins. And at the bottom of the table this time, we've got Edinburgh Rugby at 6 points with 1 win. That is quite a conversation.
Mm.
Hattie, what do you think, especially as a Brython girlie?
What a turnaround. Not gonna lie, first half of the season, I was bricking it. I was thinking, oh God,
Yeah,
we've fucked it. We've really
yeah,
fucked it.
yeah.
We've now
All the
had
Scarlet's lovers were letting me know.
Yeah,
We fucked
bearing
it.
in mind on the broadcast the other day, not the Brython one, I believe it was the Gladio one, comms did actually call Brython Scarlet's Women.
Was it a Welsh commentator?
No, it's Scotland.
Okay, see, so that's funny and cool and funny. I'm guessing probably
I think it was just a slip of the
what
tongue
is Brit?
because,
No, I know because they wear red.
well, no,
They wear red in our Welsh.
they're red. They wear red. They're Welsh. They play at Parker Scarlets. They were talking
Fucking
about
Scarlet.
the upcoming match between Gwalia and Brython, which is taking place at Parker Scarlets. Um,
Oh, I
because
thought we were going to talk about our favorite venue, my favorite venue on earth, because
oh,
I know how to
Parky
say it. Because
Scarlets.
Porky Cutlets. No Porky Cutlets. No, because I think I'm the only American who knows how to pronounce Estrid.
Ah, yeah. Mm,
So I was
fair enough.
hoping I would get to say it. Oh no, but that's for Gwalia, isn't it?
That's for Gwalia, yeah. Ystrid
Wales is
Monarchs,
not that big.
it's really not. But as I was saying, Brython, I thought they'd fucked it. Gwalia were going out so strong. They were
I was
win after
sure
win
Gwalia
after win. And we were like, oh, yes, they're heading into a bit of a difficult patch where they've got the Irish games, but, it'd be fine. No, they've actually really struggled. Whereas Brython had their first ever win over the Wolfhounds. The Wolfhounds lost to a non-Irish team for the first
I was gonna
time.
say what a match too.
It
It
was
was as
so
fun.
good.
I was gonna say it was as fun to watch probably as it was to play,
Yeah.
which we know Celtic Challenge is capable of, but has been a harder sell. And by the way, to no fault of any of the Celtic challengers themselves, it's a hard.
The it's the product that they put out.
It's it's the product they put out, and then it doesn't really help anybody who is Welsh that like WRU has been fucking it in other ways. I mean, surely there is a knock-on effect that WRU has been so.
yeah. Um the WRU has been fucking it. It's
But
just
I
not
mean, but
well
I think you would agree that like a special level of fucking
that
recently.
it's honestly
It's reaching
impressive.
fever pitch.
I, and the thing that gets me right is
Okay,
that
all I'm saying is that nobody else has been dragged in front of their Senate for
no,
fucking up so bad.
oh, not just your own, like your
Your own
own
government,
nations,
your own
but
government.
also Westminster. Like, it's been
Yeah.
pretty bad.
And by the way, Westminster fucking hates you. And even they're like,
They didn't even know you existed. Let's be frank.
they did. Yes, they did. Margaret Thatcher was busy extracting resources from them.
Oh, that's true. But where was I going with this?
That it was so that well, before I
Oh,
made you talk about how bad
I
the
remember where
WRA
I was
is.
going. So here's the thing. A lot of the people that are complaining about the WRU and blah blah blah, it came out recently that the WRU had said something in a meeting, and there was the potential that the Ospreys were essentially going to be replaced with the women's team. These people don't realise that there are two professional women, semi-professional women's teams already in Wales.
No, we know full well what they were grasping onto because they can't connect two thoughts that aren't connected for them like a baby. What they were thinking about is what was in the write up from the WRU and then in the PDF that we made Hugh read for us because we didn't want to, where they were talking about how they were like, our dream is whatever, having the 4 professional teams or the 2 professional teams. I don't remember which it was. Or am I thinking about it? But whatever. The 2 professional teams, which everybody who read it and complained, you know full well that they didn't know that these 2 teams existed. They didn't know that the Celtic Challenge existed. They think that you're building 2 teams from scratch, which is hilarious because but the thing is, even if the Celtic Challenge didn't exist, the teams wouldn't be built from nothing. They've always had the Scarlets women. They've always had Cardiff women. Like, are you dumb?
Like there are under 18 Scarlets women. Like right, anyway, we're going to move on from the stupidity of Welsh rugby
We just did a
supporters.
lot about how bad USA is. We can talk for 1 minute about how dumb Welsh supporters are.
But
I
Brython,
know.
I'm just so
You have
proud.
mental health.
Okay.
Brython, you've been like you put on, first of all, you put on a hell of a show. Second of all, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I,
I really liked getting to be basically, obviously I'm rooting for my friend's team, but mostly a neutral, and I was just like, oh hell yeah, let's go.
and the thing, so 2 things. Number one, and I stand by this as I'm going to call myself Brython's #1 fan because
You are in my mind and in my heart.
quite frankly, I'm not related to any of them.
And by the
Um,
way, when you say that, you don't know because one time, very early in our friendship, all 3 of us together, because we all came together different times as friends, I did joke that surely you and Sean had relatives. And then you were like, no, and then I was right.
yeah, and then it turns out that
More or less.
my
More or
great
less.
aunt went out with her great uncle. Anyway, what a story. But
It's actually a very short story. That's all it was.
that's what it was. Uh,
And then it didn't happen, and then they got together and made it.
yeah. Um, again, I've lost my place. Oh yeah, so that I know of, I'm not related to any of them. Um, which is a disclaimer that you have to give in Wales. Uh, but um, but I've watched every game. This is my point.
Yes.
I might be the only one who's watched them all and not related to any of them, which I'm very proud of. From day one, I've been up the Gwalia. I literally went on TikTok the other
I
day, and I had posted a TikTok
You just
from
said you're
when
up for Gwalia. You just said you were up for Gwalia, by the way.
I'm very tired.
What is with you?
I'm really
I know
tired.
because I heard it and then I had to process for a second. I was like, "What's the joke?" Oh, wasn't a joke.
No, it was just a slip.
No, it's because we've been talking about 1,000 teams.
It
You've been for Brython. You've been for Brython for day one, which is true. You're day one baddie.
Yeah,
Um,
but I found this TikTok and it was of Shauned kicking the drop goal.
One of your favorite moments of all time.
It literally is. Um,
I know.
yeah. So really have been day one. Gwalia, I do love you, but I do mean Brython. I'm just very tired. It's
There.
been a long day.
Also they've been making her talk about men's rugby, which you have to understand exhausts the woman's mind. And by the way, that's another reason why trans women have to play women's rugby. You can't make them think about men's rugby. It will exhaust them. No.
Um, Everyone would be a lot happier if they just watched and enjoyed women's rugby generally, I think.
And you know what? And they hate it when we say that, but then every person is from the men's game who comes to women's, they're like,
It's a lot more fun.
I'm so mad that I had a lot of fun. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you
But
did.
to have actual rugby analysis in this
Yeah,
podcast
yeah. Remember, everybody hates that they're listening to me talking. They're here for the rugby.
is I still stand behind that. Ashley Beck, not a good head coach. I have been saying this for a while. In fact, I've been
Wow.
probably saying it for just as long as I've been saying that the Clovers kit is a crime against fashion and my
Well,
eyeballs.
isn't one of the many problems that they have had that hideous one like 2 or 3 seasons now? And
All
wasn't it
three
Ashley?
seasons.
Yeah, but he hasn't been the head coach for 3 years.
Yeah.
I could have sworn part of the whole thing of him taking on the reins was that he already had too many other things going on, and then they were like, "Yeah, fuck it."
No, he's
Oh,
been pretty
okay.
well done.
Wow. Okay, so, hmm. So I wonder who's really coaching them. I don't think he became good overnight. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, and the things with obviously Gwen Crabb came in this year. She's missed a couple
I
of
was
games
gonna
through
say,
injury.
do you think
But
it
I
might
think
be
she's made a huge
either
difference.
player
Um,
leadership was what I was gonna ask.
I also think, we've had a couple of more experienced players from the club game come up. I think that's been a huge difference.
Yeah.
You've also had people like Stella Oren come through who, yes, she is young, but she is
I
a
assume,
natural leader.
yeah, I was gonna say, and I assume also like I would consider her as like coming up through. Like she was
Yeah.
pathway enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's pathway, but she's not like Gwen Crabb
I was gonna
international.
say
Yeah.
it's not longevity yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then obviously Kate Williams has come in and played the last two games. Her last game, she was
Yeah.
incredible.
I
And
was gonna say it really seems like, and it's the case all the time, and it's not commentary on the importance of one player over another, but some players really do like just by their presence like change things. I'm not surprised at all if Gwen Crabb is one of those people, but I was surprised by Kate, and not any comment on her, but just like I didn't know you had the gravitas yet. That's awesome.
it's great. And I think to have people that can just lift up the team, and something that used to happen with Brython is they'd go like one or two scores behind, and they'd put their head down.
I
And
was
that's
just gonna
not
say there was a lot of demoralization.
and that is really changed. Courtney Keat is another one. She's added a bit of experience.
Obviously,
Bye.
obviously a huge get.
Yeah. And interesting, in my opinion, is that earlier on today,
Oh yes. Okay, finally. I'm so excited.
one little
I'm
babby
Oh
was
yeah,
at
even that.
Brython
Oh,
training.
that's better.
Little
Yeah.
Ralphie
So
Joyce
little
was
Ralphie
at
Joyce was there.
Brython Thunder training, and
I'm so glad you said that. Okay.
I'm wondering, is Alicia going to play for Brython this
Yes.
weekend? And that's her introduction before she plays back in the Six Nations.
Yes. I 100% believe it. Now, I'm so glad you said that because first of all, that has been what I was thinking since we saw the Ralphie oh god. See, now we sound like TMZ of rugby. But whatever, since we saw the Ralphie
We
post,
are
which wasn't
TMZ of rugby. Hold the front page. Ralphie Joyce spotted at Brython Thunder.
Ralphie Joyce stuns in Brython Red.
And it goes so well with his hair.
And it goes so well with his hair and also his red face. Um,
That was incredibly parasocial. We do apologise to Jazz
we
and Alicia,
actually
but
almost never do that. Almost. But that said, what I really wish is that I knew how to edit anything and that we did this on something better than Zoom. We got to work on that because I would love to splice in. I am 100% positive with certainty, no question. We predicted one or both of them playing. I remember it clear as day, and I remember that I made the prediction right before we found out Alicia was pregnant. Anyway, it was when they were still going with the bacterial infection, where we were all like, "Oh, she has like the flesh-eating one because she's gone." But we were like, "Where is she going?" And I remember at that time, I was just like, I mean, maybe she's just like chilling at one of the Celtic Challenge teams. And of course, knowing that she's from Carmarthen, it's gonna be Brython. And of course, she was a
they live
Scarlets
around the
girl.
corner.
I was gonna say I would be obviously remiss to not say that they are both also consummate Scarlets women.
Hmm.
Um, So I think it's incredibly likely. I think not only that, even if it's like not the actual case, if it's not, I think that's a huge failure because it has seemed that, we have in the past railed against specifically Ireland for playing too many seniors in what's supposed to be a developmental league. That said, we also have acknowledged that if because we're not going to change Ireland doing that right now. It's part of their structure. We're not going to get them to change it anyway, but even if like we could, it wouldn't be us. It would be at a much higher level. That said, when you have to figure out a new way to fight that, you put your seniors in. And the one place that I think would be super welcoming to like dip your toe back in after several months away is this. Um, I think
I
that it was a tremendous success to bring in CK. Obviously Gwen has been a great leader. Um, I mean, who doesn't want Alicia Joyce? Like, what team is sending her away?
and I think as well, like
Oh, and
I
of course,
remember,
the most important part, like you said, they are so close because of the childcare. Yeah,
yeah.
that was all I wanted to go,
Um,
is that it all fits.
yeah, I think it's important to say as well, like the first year when it was one team from each country, and then the first year of Celtic Challenge proper, yes, it was very much being advertised as a developmental league, and
Yeah.
it's sometimes still called that. Um, and so that's
But
why
they
it
but
was,
it's important to note that they have distanced themselves from that identity too,
yeah,
which
and
which we're happy.
that's why people were so irritated by Ireland putting in their
Which
contracted
was
internationals.
I was gonna say which was fair because it wasn't just one or two. There were times when the Wolfhounds was like 6 out of 15 were seniors. That's great
Or more, like it was literally anybody who was contracted, because obviously if you're contracted, you have to live there.
because if
So
you have to, yeah.
yeah, whereas now I think we are, because a lot of the girls from the Scotland teams are on those like development contracts, and then we're seeing slightly more contracted players in the Celtic Challenge. I think for the Celtic Challenge to move
I
forward,
didn't think of that
especially in
actually. It's a good point.
Wales, like we have to retain the players we've already got. I've said before that I think it's a massive shame that Maisie Davis was signed for the PWR. Like, great for her, but I think for Welsh rugby generally, I think it was bad.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. Sean Jones was a huge loss too.
yeah, and
Um,
I think we have to retain those players. And actually, if we're able to we've obviously brought back Gwen Crabb. If we're able to bring back Jazz and Alicia,
I
who
think I think Jazz is probably and through no fault of her own, but because of the way that things work, I think it's probably the case that she can't get out of the Bears contract. But what I'm wondering, here's the one thing I'm wondering. Um, because Alicia has spoken so extensively about the innovation of the maternal contract or the maternal setup
Mhm.
at Bears, and it is by the way state of the art. Like it is the vanguard in PWR is the maternity policy at Bears. Thank you, Abby Ward. I won't shy away from that. Abby changed the game. Luckily, she was high profile enough, but major clubs are now doing maternity policies. Awesome. I'm guessing Wales. I'm guessing WRU's is bad, or doesn't exist. I'm guessing it doesn't exist.
well, that
Um,
was the whole thing when they had the contract thing, that they hadn't put one in place. So I think they have had to
right.
put one in place now.
Oh, okay. So the lawyers got to you. Great. Um, my only question there would be like, is she going to get the support she needs? Training at Brython, but luckily she also has a professional spouse. I don't know. It's probably easier to navigate than I think. It just seems hard. Um, honestly, get the bag, but like, come back to Celtic Challenge. It's good. I promise you, it's good. It's fun. Um, I mean, I'll say this: Brython forever if you get one of the choices.
I I love the Celtic Challenge.
And I know that WRU is always watching for me. They're like, when will Julia be a fan? Brython.
Um,
We got her already for the national team. Sorry, go on.
but this weekend is the last weekend of the regular season. So it's Derby
Yes,
weekend,
this will be our first competition with both
proper
semis.
playoffs.
Yeah, proper.
Yeah, I
I
think
was gonna
we
say semis and final. Yeah.
there was something weird in the first year, which we're not going to talk about because it was stupid. Um, and by first year, I mean the first year where there were six teams. Um, But this year it's like proper playoffs. Um, but exciting thing, something most people wouldn't have expected, is that it is quite likely that we've got two Welsh teams in the playoffs.
I know it's going to be incredible. Like,
So
okay,
the
okay,
only
that's
Premier team,
overselling it a little bit, but it will be really exciting if there is.
yeah. So the reason why we said how many wins each team had when Julia went through the standings is because they announced today, literally like a couple of hours before we started recording, that it was if two teams were tied on points, it would be the wins which differentiated them. Obviously, Brython are on 4, Glasgow are on 2. So if Brython drew with Gwalia, um, and for whatever reason Glasgow and Brython were on the same points, Brython would go through and Glasgow would not.
Yep.
Obviously, if Brython win, it's redundant. If Brython lose and Glasgow win, then we've got a problem, and Brython are out
Why? Because Glasgow is only on
because
2.
they're on 16 points and Brython are on 18 points. So when the
Right,
match
but it's
points
the.
come through, so if
But I
Glasgow
thought it was
get
wins.
so it goes on
And
points, and if they're tied, then it goes on wins.
right, so you're saying if Brython loses and Glasgow wins, and they're both on 18 points
No,
together.
no, if there's no ignore whether or not they are on the same points because they won't be on the same points if Brython loses and Glasgow wins.
Oh, okay, I
Yeah.
see them. I see.
So
Then yeah, uh, luckily or unluckily, depending on who you support, but luckily for the people here, I think that's the least likely scenario.
yeah, I think the way Brython have been playing and the fact that Gwalia have been stripped of a lot of their very, very good players, like
Yeah.
they've got Lau
Okay.
and they've
As
got
we
Molly
often say, and
Reardon.
as yeah,
And,
I
and
mean,
they can't do it alone.
right, and as a thing that we always say, every rugby person ever always says, like it's a beautiful sport because it is one where truly one player cannot win you or lose you a game. It
Yeah.
just can't.
And I
Um,
think Brython are on this roll now where they've had 4 wins in a row, and
and if they
Gwalia
truly
have
are,
had
as
four
we
losses. I
yeah,
think
and
four
as we
losses or more.
suspect, if they are as we suspect a vibes based team, we're sending you all of our vibes, Brython, please. We're so excited. Um, yeah, I mean that was really my major thing is that like I know and I know that Welsh players right now feel a lot of weight around their shoulders for things that have absolutely nothing to do with them or often have a lot to do with them. It's got to be difficult to navigate that, but to have that come up is like really exciting. And I
Mm.
understand. And the reason that Hattie keeps stressing so much how fun it is and how much she has enjoyed following it is because, like, seriously, ball knowers who care, like, it's not just because it is like where her family is from, which is true, but that's what makes sport fun. But it really is fun. Like, the quality year over year, in my opinion,
Mm.
as somebody who is completely neutral in the competition still, year over year it has improved. I promise you.
Mm.
It's on an upward trajectory.
And it's not like you're still able to have massive upsets. Like
Exactly.
Brython
We
beating
we
the
saw
Wolfhounds
some that
is
I was gonna
huge.
say.
And not just
It
they beat
was
them. It wasn't like it was close. It was 14
no,
nil.
yeah,
They nilled
which
them.
is and which I really, especially if you are either new to Celtic Challenge or haven't watched it at all, like it's hard to overstate how dominant the Wolfhounds
They
have been.
so their
They hadn't
first
lost.
their first year they had one draw against
Yeah,
Edinburgh.
they haven't lost.
Their second year they did lose. They lost
Oh,
to the Clovers, which is the other Irish team, which they
okay.
lost playing on a muddy pitch in the rain.
That's right. Okay, because we as Fred as like in our little thing we talked about it extensively because we were like
Yeah.
this doesn't add up.
And then this time around they've lost to Brython, who, bearing in mind, like the Wolfhounds have beaten, I think they beat them 69 something a couple of weeks
It was
before.
something insane.
They beat them like they beat somebody 100 something last year, like 100-0 last year.
Yes.
And this year again they went to a muddy pitch in West Wales and they couldn't cope. And it wasn't even a weak
WRU
team. It was their first team. It was they played Ireland. They played
They
Ireland without Neve
always
Jones.
so they always talk about how how it will fare, the status of the building at the Principality for predicting what will happen with the Wales men. Have you considered playing in West Wales in the mud?
We did during COVID.
We did what?
We did during COVID.
Oh,
Yeah, because
where'd they play?
they played at the park
Oh.
because the Principality was being used as a hospital.
I mean, what can you do?
Yeah.
What happened in that one? How did they fare?
I, if I remember correctly,
Who did they play? Did they play Ireland?
yeah, it was the Six
Oh,
Nations. The men played in the Six
oh.
Nations, and I think they lost every game.
I mean, it's a safe bet to make.
Yeah.
Hmm. But you're right. But by the way, all the men who yell at me on Twitter, you're right. It's definitely the Celtic Challenge existing that is the reason that the men lose all the time. You're right. Hmm. Weird.
And not the systematic destruction of the pathways.
I'm hearing that it can't be. I hear that another
It
reason
wasn't
might be
that.
that that you don't have the right ancestry.com account, which doesn't seem right considering your recent gets.
It's the
I don't know.
DEI. It's the DEI that's
Folks,
doing
I was
it.
gonna say, folks, as soon as we end recording here, Hattie is gonna get yelled at by her dog, as always happens. But when it's done, we're gonna get back in the lab. We're gonna figure out what wins.
I'm gonna get back in. I'm gonna get the lab.
Gosh, I just let it go. I could have. I'm getting old. I used up all my fire on the other. Man, gotta get the lab in the lab. No.
Mm. I
Folks,
was in
drop a better joke I could have made in the comments.
I was in a training thing earlier, and I was talking about Molly, and we were talking about obviously who else would I be talking about, and
Well, no. So my thing is like, and I say this as I hope you consider me as good a friend as I consider you a friend. Are you always? I think we talk about Molly every day in a different capacity.
yeah, I have her tattooed on me.
I know, which makes me nervous. And you're a tattoo knower, so you know why. But I believe you. I trust you. You've not led her astray so far. I think the bad luck might not have been all the way bad luck, but it might have been on her bowels. You might have
Or her heart.
bowel wise. Uh the poop is what's ailing you the most.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know that.
I'm thinking of cosmic payback for you, and
Yeah.
I think probably destined to go several years touching poop every day
Yeah.
could be construed as karma.
Maybe. Anyway, so I was talking about Molly at this training thing, and we were talking about how we could put Molly on the website for my mum's business, and we were talking
Which
about
they
what,
always want.
yeah, and we were talking about
I
what
know,
we
you know
would
what's gonna
call
happen?
her.
Your mom's gonna put Bella on the website.
Oh, fucking dead dog.
I didn't say that about her. I'm not referencing the dead part. I'm referencing that it's her favorite part.
My mum did bring her up as well. I was like, Mum, she's
Okay,
been dead for nearly 2 years.
so what you really mean is that this is kind of genetic.
Yeah, anyway, um, so talking about Molly, and one of the people there was like, "Oh, what are you going to call her? The head of marketing."
Wait, who said that? You or your mom?
No, this woman that was there.
Oh, get her on the pod.
Mm.
Friend of the pod, the joke lady about
Tracy.
the dog. Tracy, if you're listening, and I know that you're a big fan, we want to know what joke you'd make about either of our dead dogs.
Mm.
I've been talking about.
You did talk about your dead
Yeah,
dog
that
earlier.
wasn't funny. I was gonna say I talked about my dead dog earlier, but it wasn't funny. I mean, it
No.
was. I'll tell my dead dog. Oh, so our friends didn't tell us what they liked when we bantered. They didn't say like, "Oh, I love it when you constantly talk about dead
It's
dogs."
definitely the dead dog.
It's the dead dog. It's either that or the electioneering. And I already did electioneering earlier.
We did that earlier. So now we move on to the dead dogs because it's another bit that we do.
It's the dead dog. Everybody loves.
And we've predicted the future.
We have predicted the future in a way that will annoy us when we're right. Because we won't be able to come back and get it.
Yeah. As long as I don't.
Neither of us ever remember.
Yeah. If we're right, let us know.
If we're right, let us know. from the future. I might come and comment it on myself. Sometimes I do that after I've had a drink or two. Anyway, my story. Does anybody care? I love that I can't hear anybody.
I love this story.
You do love this story. I do have a dead dog story, and it was when I was meeting the dog that I have now, my elderly dog Hugo. But he's old. Um,
He's
as
not
happens
Molly
with
old, he's just normal old.
he is normal old. Um, he recently turned 9. Yeah, 9.
Normal
Um,
old.
normal old. Uh, but as happens in America, I don't know if rescues are the same way elsewhere. So I'm just saying, as we do in America, often rescues are just a collection of fosters, so they don't have a central place. The family that was fostering, who is now Hugo, his name was Tupac, not after the rapper. It's named Tupac after a dog in a really heartwarming movie, a heartwarming Kiwi movie too. But the characters in that movie have a dog named Tupac, and they were like, "We're named," and I was like, "Okay, that's really cute." We are changing it immediately because it's a brown dog, and my wife and I are 2 white women. Probably not going to
But
call
it's
him
funny
Tupac.
because you've got another dog now called Elvis.
I do, and it could
What
have
a
been
collab.
Tupac and Elvis. And so, by the way, 2 artists that people think are still alive.
Well, as long as you don't get another one and call it Epstein.
Oh my God, I was going to do like Amelia Earhart, but your thing is better. Jesus Christ. Um, so what I love is that
We're
definitely of
definitely
the
getting
2 of us,
flagged.
I know, except for accidentally misgendering somebody immediately after introducing them, I do think probably the Epstein one. All that said, yes. So the family fostering him was a rural family, or they lived rurally. So she dropped us just an address that looked like a tiny gas station. We got there because, again, we're 2 lesbians. Like, you tell us there's a pit bull that needs a home, like, we're going to be there. Um, and
It's
so we
vicious,
did
it's
show.
biting people. You don't care, you're going to put a tutu on it.
Okay, this isn't the UK. You can't just lie about them. You can't just make shit up that didn't happen. You're like, ate a baby. Okay. No, it didn't. By the way, the dogs that are most likely to bite are labs, first of all. Second of all, it's literally,
Isn't it Spaniels?
oh, maybe they're not super big here. It's anyway.
No, 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 I'm
Um,
pretty sure it's Spaniels in the US. I think in the UK it's Dachshunds.
poodles. You're thinking poodles, but yes, it's poodles. You're right. Anyway, it's dogs that aren't my fat stupid dogs. So anyway, I meet this dog who has. Actually, I'm glad you said that because he has especially if you're somebody who knows me outside of this podcast, he's special, behaviorally special. He's afraid of most things. Luckily not reactive to them. He just doesn't do them. He just withdraws. We have
He
gotten to the
loafs.
gas. Yeah, we've gotten to the gas station and we meet her. And we were like, so, and she was like, oh no, we're going behind. Giant Mennonite graveyard. Did not know because again, we are not from the region, or the greater region. So we're like, all right, but Hugo won't get out of the car. This is a meet and greet with my now late girl Stella. This is a meet and greet. Stella was
R.I.P. Stella.
R.I.P. Stella. The reason that she started my wife's pit bull journey actually was Stella, who was bomb proof. Basically, all of that is to say, this is going way too long. All of that is to say, bomb proof dog. She was like, all right, let's go. I'm so excited. I saw you in the car. Like, do you want to like, let's go or whatever. Yeah, Stella was down to party. Stella was always down to party. When she was a puppy, she used to knock over everybody's red Solo cups at parties and she'd drink the beer remains, which was very funny to me at the time. Not how she died. Uh, so anyway, Stella is walking around. Hugo won't get out of the car. Stella is pissing on Graves. Because I didn't know what else to do. What was I to do? I was a woman in a situation. Finally, Hugo came out. Now both of them are pissing all over the graveyard. I do believe, and there isn't actually a conclusion to this. They got along really great. Hugo had a great home visit. Hugo and Stella bonded. It was great. I do believe that everything bad that has happened to me since is because of letting my dog piss on the graves of Mennonites, who I do believe are haunting me. So new pod lore, and Sean is going to be excited to catch up on this one because she didn't even know the story. I do believe I am haunted by Mennonites. Mennonites, if you're watching, the Mennonite rugby
They're not.
community is huge.
Are they allowed to watch this?
Yes. Mennonites can use stuff. Amish can.
What? Oh,
And
not if they're old
if you are,
older. Old order.
If you are Mennonite or Amish and watching this and I got it wrong, which almost certainly I did, drop a comment. Canceled in the Mennonites. Canceled in the Mennonite community. But if I wasn't already canceled by being haunted.
Yeah. My follow-up to this.
Yeah.
So obviously
I would love it to be a question about my dogs, but is it going to be about... Go on.
So my follow-up is going to be, so as we briefly mentioned, Molly has some issues with the bathroom when she's sleeping.
I thought you were going to say the other thing, which is men, but that's different. Go on.
Yeah, she has an issue with men and also old ladies. But
she got both of those by nurture, not by nature.
Yep. She doesn't mind old ladies in wheelchairs. It's old ladies if they're walking. Distinction there. Don't ask me why. However, so when I first started going through this with Molly, Julia kept saying, my old dog Stella, she had puppy pads. Do you think the Mennonites cursed Stella's bladder?
That's so fucked up because you definitely forgot the story or you would not have made that joke. I think it's funny because it's about why she was incontinent.
No.
She was paralyzed. She was paralyzed from
it was
she
the
just
Mennonites.
Couldn't. I do now believe that the Mennonites paralyzed my dog. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't. So I'm trying to think of all the groups that are coming after me now. And my concern, I was texting my wife right before, and I was like, I am going to say something regarding the trans ban that is going to get me on a watch list.
Oh no, it's going to be what we've said about the Mennonites.
I genuinely don't think it's in the top 5 from this episode. What I am thrilled with is that we absolutely got some non-rugby banter that will make the right people angry and the right people clap like a baby.
And with that, I'm going to talk about my conspiracy theory.
We have a great conspiracy theory. Unfortunately, it's based in a lot of facts, so it's probably true, but listen.
So, for a very long time, I have said that I don't think Bath will join the PWR. And I do believe for the good of rugby society.
And I believed her, by the way.
For the good of rugby society, I don't think it's a good idea. For people who don't know, Bath has 3 women's teams in different leagues. The first one being in Championship South, which is the top.
For people getting used to PWR, that's the level right below PWR.
Yes,
it's who would feed in.
Yeah. However, they're middle table. They've always been middle table. They usually sit around 4th. They're not playing in the Championship playoff, which is between the winners of Championship South and Championship North. They're just chilling. You know, they play a game.
So all of that is to say they are in the right level, but they're not like
vets. They're not Thurrock. They're not Thurrock. They're not Cheltenham.
I'm always saying this. I'm always saying they're not Cheltenham.
Yeah, they're not OA Saints, who are all, by the way, actually no, Thurrock isn't.
OA Saints I am partial to because of an annoying friend I have.
Yeah. So OA Saints are affiliated with Saracens, Cheltenham affiliated with Gloucester Hartpury, etc., etc. Those clubs.
Is Bath isn't affiliated with Bristol.
No. There have been a couple of players, but it's not affiliated in the same way that OA is with Surrey's.
That was what I was clarifying.
Yeah. So those clubs act as feeder clubs. They're the top teams. They're the ones that are going to be battling it out. Bath is not one of those teams. They're very much yes, they are Bath, but they're a community club that happens to be very, very successful. The Championship.
My question is, well, I do want to clarify: is Bath rich? Like, is it a well-funded club? It has to be free, right?
So
otherwise, I don't understand what the draw is, because the big problem, the only thing that has folded teams for PWR so far has been money.
Well, so Bath, the men's club is well funded, but I believe Bath Women is technically a separate club, because I think it comes under the community club, not the professional club. I think they're technically separate entities. In the same way that Wasps Women were a separate entity to Wasps Men.
This is this is complex. You did bring up a good. I know it's complex, but the Wasp. All I was going to say is the Wasps is particularly apt for what you're.
Yeah. So the thing that I've always believed, and several other championship-esque ball knowers have always said, is that if Bath went up to the PWR, which they could do if Bath men put the money in, um, is the fact that it would kill the community game. And I do stand behind that. We've seen that before. We've seen that with Aylesford when they became Harlequins. We saw.
And by the way, members of that community, that since I posted because I was curious what I would get, but I posted this prediction. And I did get some replies from some regular people that I know are very much in the PWR. And the responses that I got, everybody said that it would kill the community.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that until they told me.
Yeah, like it is known to happen. Like it when Loughborough was created, it killed Lichfield. When
So what is it that, well, so you're right, absolutely. But like, is there a secret sauce that Saracens didn't kill Oasis? It's
they
one
were
that's still doing
separate clubs.
fine. Oh.
So they have
So okay.
so they have
Okay.
always been separate.
That's a goodish sign.
Yeah, old Albanians, even if you look at the men's side, old Albanians has always it's had a link with Saracens for a very long time, but it's always been a junior club. And so originally when Saracens was more London based rather than now a lot of them train out in St Albans, that's when the link was forged a little bit deeper.
Which makes sense.
But yeah, like they are separate clubs, they exist separately, they've never conglomerated, but since the advent of the Premiership, that is when OAs have kind of shot up and become more successful because they've been used as our feeder club. Anyway,
well, I was curious because I mean, well, but that is a club that, at least as long as I have been following anything in England, like I've known the name.
Yeah, but for example, when Harlequins took Aylesford, which was a very very well-known women's club. I believe they had 2 or 3 teams as well. When Harlequins took over, Aylesford essentially folded. It's very common. Sale FC really struggled when Sale Sharks took the women's team. It tends to happen because you're basically taking your cream crop of those players, but you're also closing the door on those who can't make it.
Well, and American friends, exactly the same thing happened in WER. It was something that we knew would happen because we were following the PWR model. We knew it would happen. It did. It collapsed all of the major feeder clubs. Yeah.
So it does suck. It will happen if Bath go up, but what we believe
it also oversaturates the area.
Yes. So it oversaturates the area. It happened when we had Worcester, and Bath is even closer. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have
even closer.
It's like clubs really close together.
Right. And you know, while I am not, I definitely don't know about anything below PWR. It's totally true. But what I do know comes from PWR, and it's that like the London model isn't great. You have 3 whole clubs that are all right there, and nobody comes to come see them. Like,
and the thing is, like, yes, the men's clubs do exist. You already have Gloucester. You already have Bath. However, and yes, all those clubs do get really good attendances. But the women's market is different.
Right. And that's what I was curious. That was what I was hoping you would broach too, because I feel like even with best intentions, it's hard to predict the near future off the men's game and like how it would have gone. Because, you know, the first thing you would do is like compare the timelines. Like how did it go for the men? How long did it take? What did it impact? And like, it just doesn't work for PWR as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I just don't think it's. Anyway, the reason why we're talking about this.
Yes.
Is because the other day a post went up from Bath Ladies Rugby, which is their official name. They posted, first of all, saying 5 p.m. watch out. So at 5 p.m. I was there.
Post drop.
And it was just a video. And the video had the caption.
It's a nice video, by the way.
Made by
which already, yeah.
Made by Sarah Juliet, who I almost said her last name then, and I don't know if her last name is actually out on the what's it. Who weirdly I was friends with her sister when I was at school.
Whatever, it's still something that I love that you were just like, oh, and by the way, is she also Rugby Scrunchies?
And she's also Rugby Scrunchies. Well, she's not Rugby Scrunchies, the actual person Rugby Scrunchies, but she made Rugby Scrunchies from the infamous Besties video.
I know, and I but I also love First of all, it's great. Second of all, I love that we also unearthed a like scrunchie off in the rugby sector.
Oh, yeah. So Rugby Scrunchies, the actual person, I'm pretty sure is from the Isle of Man.
Okay, that's dope.
Yeah. Whereas Sarah is obviously from where I'm from and
Right.
now lives in Bath. Um, but she
All
did
that is to
come.
say, cool. And I said that because like it's produced in a way that reminds me of PWR videos. This was all I was trying to say.
It's very good. But the caption is "New Era Coming."
And if you watch PWR,
Launch,
you will know of a song that you have heard a million fucking times.
and it says like coming Friday, and then who's it liked by? The PWR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so all of this so far is actually not very crazy. It's not very crackpotty. What I wanted to know, uh, because you're tracking who fucking buys houses. Who bought a house in Bath recently?
I don't know if they bought a house, but they
Oh,
are
okay.
moving there.
Okay.
Released on the same day, may I add.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the reasons I made the connection. Was Gwenny
Mm-hmm.
Hops and Sean
Mm-hmm.
Jones.
And because Gwenny Hops isn't a real name, she's referencing the real human Gwen Ann Hopkins.
No, that is her name.
Every piece of information that people get from this podcast, they go to look it up and they're like, this is useless to me. This is not real information. I think half the shit they talk about is made up. I can't
Do you not want to
remember her
watch
name.
Jenny Scones
Who's Jenny Scones? Thank you. That was where I was going. Is who's Jenny Scones?
and Kate
Um
Winslet? Although
and
we
Kate
haven't
I
had
was
that
just
on
gonna
the
say,
pod yet.
all I was gonna say is I'm about to say Kate Winslet. Nobody will know what I'm talking about because Sean isn't here. Sean's autocorrect is the source of most of our nicknames. Because I love that Sean is of the three of us the most tech person, and like works in tech and everything. For some reason, all of her shit malfunctions all the time. Her laptop computer follows her everywhere in a scary way. Her autocorrect she can't turn off, and sometimes it formats her texts in a haiku. Yeah, it's good.
It's honestly, I love it when I'm like, oh, I've got 10 WhatsApp messages and I open it and it's all Sean.
Yeah,
And it's
1 to 2 lines
it,
each.
one, a couple of messages, and sometimes it'll be like, I'm next line, half a
Exactly.
sentence, new
Yeah,
message.
yeah.
Oh my God,
I
bloody
really love
auto carrot
auto
correction.
carrot. I do love that we're just like, oh, like we really miss her, like we're sad that she's gone and she adds so much to it. And we're just like, what we're gonna do is clown her. Not not here to defend herself. And then
Isn't that
it
how we
turns
show love?
is oh my god. So that's another thing our friends have said is that they can't determine if we like each other or not. I'm like, we're actually very close friends. She's just very mean to me.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
I won't go through the conversation me and Julia had last night, but let me put it this way. She went, do you think you should get checked?
I did ask that and I did mean it and I stand by it. But importantly, and since this is an episode full of PSAs and everything, Americans, did you know that it's a fucking nightmare to like fix your brain in the
Yeah.
UK? I did actually know that, and that's not surprising anybody. But considering how often we are just like, we desperately need the NHS, we would do anything for it. And then I hear shit about the NHS where it's just like, they did steal my blood. Like they stole it. And they're like, and I did go in for an autism screen and they called me a slur, like straight to my face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so
And I
I
went
feel
to
like
see
that
a
wasn't,
neurologist and he talked
oh my
about
God,
Margaret
you're racist.
Thatcher.
I was going to say you're racist neurologist, which is like a really good set of words.
Mm.
Like, and now I'm imagining like somebody going on a hinge date with that. Like, oh my God, and by the way, he was boring, which was the worst part, but a racist neurologist.
Mm. He
Only
was
in England.
married.
He was married. He
Mhm.
was lying the whole time. He didn't mean to be on Hinge or whatever, probably because we have different apps everywhere. It's probably, Hinge upon time. It's a good joke.
Julia, I have a question for you.
What's up?
What the fuck's going on with bears?
Your guess is as good as ours. Um, joking aside, I
This is an
genuinely don't
update
know.
to our previous section. segment.
What the fuck Bears?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a follow-up. I've actually been happy with our improvement. You know, I try not to veer off on this too much because it's like we cover the PWR, but really it's just the one team Julia likes. And I actually like
and the
several
team I
teams.
like.
And the team you like, exactly. Luckily for your team, we haven't had to ask what the fuck because they're on an incline. It's actually great. Very happy for you, Loughborough, especially the Loughborough Eagles, but like all of you. That's fantastic. In terms of Bears, I still don't know. The stuff that I posited before kind of still stands. I personally am not a huge fan of the new coach yet. He has to earn more of my regard at this point. Unfortunately, this delves a little bit into and Sean isn't here, so like I don't want to sound like I'm making it up and putting it in her mouth, but Sean has spoken in person with some people who very much have knowledge of what's going on at Bears. Don't know if it's correct or not, so I'm definitely not putting names to it, and I'm not saying any of it is certain. This person probably knows, but it doesn't sound like at this time they're thrilled with the new coach. But as we always say, no coach and no player make them win and lose. I stand by what I've said before. I think finally, after like a really bad dearth of recruiting, you know, if you're gonna fuck up recruiting over a World Cup that comes to your house, they played at Ashton Gate, you dumbass. If you're really not gonna recruit at all, and you like wait till the last minute and you get people who can only play a few months, get Ruahe Demant, and you did. So, and I will say, honestly, I think some of the turnaround has genuinely just been Ruahe Demant. It really has.
Turns out you do actually need a fly half to play rugby.
You need a fly half. And what's more, I'm thrilled about it specifically because if anybody deserves to have a nice time after a really long, protracted, bad time, it's Kira Bevan. So I'm thrilled. I've been thrilled with that. I think that 9-10 partnership is my favorite I've seen since Rito played. Really, the last time I was happy was when Amber Reed was playing 10. And obviously before that, Eleanor Snowsel, but Amber Reed after Snowy retired. There's that. Obviously, Pampanapuisa was always going to be a fantastic recruit, but like, oh my God, has really settled in, as far as I can tell, in no small part to Simi Pam. Thank you, Simi, for making Pampanut feel so welcome and staying. Please make her come back. We love having you. We know you're not going anywhere. Please bring Pampanut back. Chloe Daniels has only played a little bit, but been great as well. I mean, like you recruited the captain of the Black Ferns and 2 Olympic silver medalists. Good. I think much like the blockbuster signing that kind of fizzled out last year, I think you're really gambling on a small number. Whereas if you compare it to teams that I feel have really knocked it out of the park with recruiting, like Quins, like Trailfinders, like Sharks, I think you're seeing longer, more sustained progress, probably because of that. You know, I did mention also that all 3 of them are having shortened appearances, and you know, maybe they'll come back. We know, and we've talked, you know, we can't dive into it, but we will be talking about it soon because Opiki will be coming up soon. But as we know, New Zealand in general has several regulations. I mean, you know, I hesitate to call them like laws, but regulations for how their players play. So we know that they will never be staying all the way through because they have to go back for Opiki. When sevens players dabble in 15s, it's never for long. Generally, you know, if the player is going to be a crossover long term. Yeah, I wish I had a better and more rugby answer, but we're given very little, to be honest. And the complete fall from grace, like I don't have an excuse for it yet, so I don't know. I'm glad they're doing better. I don't necessarily think that like dog days are over. I don't think I'm almost certain they will definitely not make playoffs. At the same time, you know, I have said it before, and I definitely am now, like I am very much a blossoming Sail Sharks fan. There is a tiny mathematical chance that they could make it. They won't, but that's exciting. It could happen. PWR is more exciting than it has been in a while.
I mean, apart from
Ugh.
the top.
I was just gonna say, except for that we know who the final is gonna be already. Again, it's really a shame. Um, I had some hope for Exeter for a minute there, but Exeter also loves to like start off a season with a bang, kind of really mid the whole middle, and then they're like, oh wait, we want a playoff. Well, too late. Um, yeah.
And
That
with
said,
that,
Loughborough will very likely be in the playoffs. I'm
no, we
excited.
won't.
Really?
No, we're
No.
sixth.
Oh,
Yeah,
ew.
we started off quite strong, and
Yeah.
we've
I
simply
really had high
not
hopes.
we've not won a game this calendar year,
Yeah. I mean,
and
you
we
weren't
also
tempted.
have had two draws.
Yeah. I was gonna say you weren't helped by the schedule, and that always happens to somebody.
Yeah, so it's Trailfinders are on 32 points.
Mhm.
They're fifth. We're on 23, and
Is
then
it top
Sale
four or top six?
top four.
It's top.
There's only 9 teams.
Right, I know. That was where I was going to, and I was gonna say that brings us full circle to like, do we want Bath to join PWR? It depends on which word you emphasize. Do we want Bath to join PWR? No. Do we want Bath to join PWR? Yeah, I guess we need a 10th.
We need a 10th team. I think it just depends on like what Bath do. Are they going to bring in actually recruit, which Leicester Tigers didn't do, or is it just going to be a bunfire at the bottom?
You're exactly right. And then also, you would hope for some kind of acknowledgement, if not answer to what is your plan for the vacuum you will leave? Because,
This is it. If right, hear me out. So
yeah,
if Bath were like, we're just going to create a new top PWR team, it's going to exist separately, and then we're going to leave the
which is
championship side, I'd be like,
which is what I hoped
great,
they would do.
wonderful. However, with the likes of Leicester Tigers, they were like, oh, Leicester Tigers, we're basically just being promoted into the PWR, and they didn't do anything
And it was
underneath.
catastrophic.
And it,
Well, and it was catastrophic.
yeah, it's been a shit show ever since.
Um, and honestly, and we cited it when we were back, kind of comparing um the formation and ascendance or lack thereof between Trailfinders and Tigers, of two clubs with not okay. Obviously, the details are a little bit different, but top line items when you look at Leicester, who had the men's side, Trailfinders, who had Ealing, kind of the same setup. Um, the same feasible roads forward did vastly different things. And almost immediately, you saw what happened. Um, so the question that I was trying to get at is like, do we think Bath learned? But more importantly, do we think Bath cared? Because learning is not that hard. You can talk to somebody and learn. You have to care if you decimate before what's under you. And it sounds like nobody. It sounds like nobody has a lot of faith that they're going to do the thing you said. I'm
Yeah, I think
curious what you think. I'm curious what you think is more likely, even if it's probably destructive.
it. I feel that it's likely that they will basically promote the current team and
It's easiest, like it's low hanging fruit, but
yeah, and even if they keep the second and thirds and they become the first and seconds, right? Because you then don't have that top team, one, that top team then doesn't feed into a team, which is what we've
I was
seen
just I
is
was just gonna say,
required to be successful. But it
and
also
I was gonna say what's left will be so decimated that you won't even have what you started.
no, so it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. So it's what we think. It's what it sounds like. I'm guessing that the pro con list, the pros to a bunch of people who maybe aren't in touch with the community is what I'm
Yes,
guessing.
and I think the thing that is missing is that a lot of men's rugby folk in England think that the PWR acts like the Premiership. Obviously, the
Yeah.
Premiership is
See,
changing, and so what
I
used to happen in is that you'd have a Championship team, they'd work and work and work, and they'd get promoted into the Premiership. The
they
PWR is
they
different. The
want it to look like
PWR
pro rel, but that's not what we have.
The PWR is closed off. It has essentially
Yes,
always been closed off. It
we know because we
they
like
are
Welsh rugby.
they are franchises essentially. They are completely separate
Absolutely.
from everything else. So you can't ascend. It's not there is such a huge gap between the PWR and the champ. There isn't even a one champ, it's two. You've got champ
That
one
I was gonna
north and
say
champ one south. Like,
that's what I've really picked up. Well, that's what I've really picked up from you over our time and like as you've introduced me to what is below the PWR, because absolutely what you would expect would be pro rel. Like it makes the most sense when it makes the most sense. End of statement. And then also like it doesn't really seem like there's anything else you could do. And then when you introduce this model, it's hard to describe because it doesn't sound like it's going to work, and it doesn't. It doesn't
no.
really. So what I am curious about, because I've watched you guys talk a lot about it, um, is it just fuck the North?
So the difficulty is there is simply less there is simply less rugby union in the north.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. So
It's
when
not.
you
It's not. Yeah. It's not that the community isn't being served. It's that it's not
yeah,
there.
it's and there are a few
What would you say to the people who argue? Because this is something that I heard. What would you say to the people who argued that it should be Newcastle because of Red Bull?
the issue with it being Newcastle. I personally think Newcastle.
Doncaster.
I've been a big advocate for Doncaster. I think Doncaster is unlikely since the men's team's gone semi-pro. The issue with it being Newcastle is the same issue that we had with DMP, which is that the travel is extortionate. And the thing is that the
Yeah.
men's teams do like they can when Exeter have to play Newcastle in the men's prem, they
Yeah.
complain because it is a long journey.
Yes.
It puts Newcastle at a disadvantage because they're constantly having to travel that bit further. It put DMP
They
at a
will always have long
disadvantage
travel. Yeah.
because they were always having to travel. And the problem is because the PWR is still semi-pro, and because they're putting up and saying we want to have Friday night games and we want to have Sunday games, it's putting those players at a disadvantage. And it also puts
I
travelling
feel
fans at
like
a disadvantage.
that's
But I would
yeah.
never travel to Newcastle. It's too far. I would travel to
Yeah.
the London games. I would travel to Leicester.
See,
I
this
would
is and
maybe
so
travel to Sale, but I would not even think about traveling to Newcastle. It's just
and
too
so
far.
and so that's interesting, and I'm really glad that the conversation just kind of ended up veering into that, because that is something especially I hope we have Canadian listeners. I doubt we do yet, but I really hope we do. I know we have my fellow American listeners, and it's something that continues to kind of surprise me, and I'm very grateful to have you guys in my life to keep reminding me, because when I hear that and like I look at a map, I am a map nerd, I'm always like, what the fuck are you talking about? When people tell me that they don't go to Wales that often, I'm like, just go. It's right there. Like, don't go to Scotland. It's right there. Got the land in America. 8 hours is fine. 8 hours in the car is fine. We do that all the time. I was talking to a friend who was like, I don't want to do distance of like 2 hours or whatever. I was like, I dated girls in Boston. It's an 8 hour drive and I would just drive it every weekend. Okay. So it really is. And even if you're only just a fan of WER, we look at WER and it's just like, yeah, okay, so we do cross continent
But yeah,
like all the time. We have also had the travel conversation in WER, and it's the reason why they basically essentially conferenced it. 3-1, 3 the other. PWHL did the same to success. But I don't know. It's the fact that it's just not the same as here. There just aren't players
it
there.
is.
If there were players that weren't being serviced, I would be upset.
And the thing that there is
Well,
the
I should
far
say I am upset. I shouldn't be as upset as I am because there aren't.
yeah, like the far north, like Durham, etc. Like there is a big rugby community up there. There is an absolutely fertile ground for rugby union in Yorkshire. There always has been. There always will be. So
I
many red
assumed
roses
that.
come out of Yorkshire.
I was just gonna say there are a ton of red roses out of Yorkshire.
There are so many. The problem is because the PWI is so reliant on men's clubs. Um, Doncaster would have been perfect, but the owners just can't afford it.
Right.
The owners can't afford to keep their men's side up for the champ. They're not going to be able to do
It really
PWR.
yeah, it really makes you, it's really making me, and I can't say much because I'm like in the middle of chewing it over and processing it, but it really makes me think a lot differently about how DMP happened. Um, and I don't know the financial details. I do know that it was financial distress.
Mm.
But at the same time, like Katie Daly McLean was one of the most dedicated people in women's rugby, and they had her. And she had all the draw in the world. Players left playing under her, but they just like wouldn't go. And I didn't understand why. And as I moved through it, now I get it. But I look at Sale, and people said the same thing about Sale. Like nobody wants to schlep up there. Nobody international. They're like Australians and New Zealand and Spanish and Italian. They don't want to go to Manchester. Well, it didn't
You've got
seem
to admit,
to be that
you've.
didn't seem to be that high a hurdle.
I think the thing is, like, for so long, it's been the PWR was so London brained. So they were like, oh, well, London is
which is
London,
which
and
is hilarious.
we don't actually have to offer anything because you're in London,
Right,
and that's
because you'll come.
that's such a great package. Whereas now, like, the teams are actually having to think about what they can offer, and I think that's why places like Bristol have suffered.
Yes, and that was really I should have also added that in because it has been part of my answer recently about Bristol in light of the potential Bath news. Is I think by far people will leave Bristol.
And like the same as what, like, one of the problems with Leicester, they're not really
They
offering
don't offer anything.
anything. And
It's hard to be in the Midlands on a good day, and then you don't
like
offer us anything.
there's quite a lot to do in Leicester. My best friend lives in Leicester. I go quite often. There are things to do in Leicester. It's not the most boring place in the world. It's very
I assume it
multicultural.
has to be you pulled a bunch of Americans. I assume there's something to offer.
There,
And it's also, as Tess Fury says all the time, it's a history club. The reason she came is because her dad was a fan. Like,
but if you're not offering anything as a club, you're not going to retain.
yeah.
And the thing is,
And
like,
and that's exactly what we've seen with Tigers with the Exodus.
and
That's
we can
exactly
see
what we
like
saw.
Loughborough somehow are able to retain a lot of American players, but not necessarily from other countries, and it's just
No,
fascinating.
it is, and that's a different conversation, but still one I really want to have because it is one of my favorite things about women's rugby. And I only say that because I don't know if it happens the same way in men's, but we've talked about it before. There are a few aspects of women's rugby that definitely men's doesn't share, and that a lot of other sports don't share. But ones that are so prevalent in rugby, we forget to talk about it. But first of all, girls be friends. Like I don't think it's the case that men follow a group of their friends that, but because you go for where the money is when money can be
Mm.
chosen, when you can make two clubs barter for each other. But when it's just I can go make $3,000 a month, or no, that's actually a good salary. When I can go make $1,000 a month
If that.
in with no friends and in a new place, or with all my friends in a new place, I'm gonna go do it with all my friends. Other side is that men's players don't get married. A lot of women's players marry each other and move.
Yeah, yeah, no, that is a
Um,
big factor, I think.
yeah, absolutely.
Although Poppy Clear and Connie Powell, separate clubs still.
In the exact same city,
Well,
in
St
the same
Albans
city.
in West London, but yeah,
Okay, to a normal person, if they looked at the map, is it really close together?
they are very close together. But I personally would not want to go from Surrey to St Albans. That's
Is
quite
it
far.
like a case? Is it a case of like on the opposite sides of the tube? We have a friend who I don't even know where our mutual friend lives in London, but who refuses to go out to Tottenham to go see a match.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they. So we're talking North London and West London, or North and West of London.
This is
However,
everyone's favorite segment where we talk about the geography of England, a place we all hate.
however, just London is the problem. The M25
London,
is
and
a
you know what?
problem.
One thing we can agree on is London is the problem.
I live half an hour away and I refuse to go.
You genuinely do, and it's really heartening to me because as a person whose like only real connection to anything in England is a random pro team I chose, is that I'm just like, that's right. As a West Country girl, which I am, you can tell by my accent, I sound exactly like the Wurzels. Um, yeah, fuck London.
I have a question for you.
What's up?
So obviously we really should wrap this up.
Yeah, we're
If you've
wrapping it
made
up.
it,
We promise.
yeah. However,
If
this
you've
is
made it
my
this far, you are literally one of our friends.
yeah. Uh, hypothetical question
Let's go.
because I know you well. So your mum went to the University of Hull.
Yes.
Yeah, which is one of my favorite facts about you. Um,
I really thought so I knew that you were going to go for a school, but I thought that you were going to name her grad school, which is American University, and I was like, where I live? Yeah, what's up?
no, University of Hull.
Yes,
If
there's really a university in Washington D.C. called American University. Sorry, go on. She did go to Hull.
Yep,
I've been.
she went to Hull. Yeah. If Doncaster got a PWR team, would you then support Doncaster? Doncaster and
So,
Hull, for those not in the know, both Yorkshire.
right, right. So yes, but not because of my mom. My mom first didn't believe me that I was going to play rugby. And then when I was very much playing rugby, she never came and watched me play. So I don't care about that. And she doesn't care about rugby. Or also, one time my sister told, because I don't talk about it with her, my sister told her that I have a podcast. And because of that generation's understanding of podcasts, first of all, she thought I had a huge audience. She thought I was Obama. And then second of all, at the time when
Obama!
Obama. The second time, when at the time of year when my sister apparently let this slip, I don't think I was present because my sister relayed this story. But she was like, "Oh, do you think Julia could get the message out to her audience about?" And she was talking about a candidate that was in like a really contentious runoff in Texas, and I was like, "Okay, so we're from Virginia. Don't get out the map, people in the UK, nowhere near Texas. If you also listen to my American podcast, my co-host Colia is in Texas. We are very, very far apart.
Different
Also,
time
again,
zones.
very much different time zones. Texas is itself so big that it was its own country. And then also, I need to understand if you think the dingbats who listen to my rugby podcast, even if they were all American dingbats, are listening to me for my political takes. Because every time I do a political take on my podcast, and she doesn't know this because again, she doesn't listen, I get letters sent to my editor from YouTube, which I'm kind of proud of. I don't think rap has ever gotten a letter. Like I
it was incredible when producer Lee told us that he was like,
I
what the
thought
fuck have you done?
I thought he was kidding first, and then I was like, is he using the word electioneering wrong? And then I was like, where would he have picked it up if not? It
Yeah, it's
has to
not.
be what it says. And he was like, it's in the email. Like, I see. And we are being censored. And he was like, you are being censored. And I was like, are we going to fight this? He was like, I have a small channel. I don't think I'm going to do that. I was trying to fight for my rights, especially because if I was really electioneering, you'd know. Chat, drop in the comments below. Have I electioneered? No, I have to stop saying
Let
the
us
word.
just say that if Julia and I were going to electioneer,
it would not be on this fucking podcast. I tell you what. We would start a podcast even fewer people would listen to.
it would be.
We would both get put on watch lists.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would definitely get your nepotism Costco membership stripped.
No, I think Costco is the only type of capitalism I like.
In the UK, do you get oh shit, I don't have my wallet down here. In your guys' card, does it have the most fucked up little picture you've ever taken in the corner on the back?
Oh, my card is downstairs. Oh, no.
Okay. So
yes, it's
okay.
like it's
So
black and white and grainy.
it's black and white grainy. It looks like
And I'm
like if they took it yeah, exactly. Okay. So
and like
okay.
half my
So that
head is
a
cut off
universal.
because
I was gonna say what I really
apparently I'm too tall. I'm 5'4".
the reason the tallest person I know. Because
I am the
okay,
tallest
so
member of Women's Rugby Treehouse.
yeah, isn't that remarkable?
Mm.
That's crazy. And they let Sean play in the back. Well, they let her play scrum half. Let's be real. She did also play fly half though, but it's because of the big hands and and because she could kick.
They let me jump though.
Yeah, I know, and I really, no offense meant. What was wrong with your team?
We were very
How
small.
tall were your second rows?
But they were
were
just
they
too
short?
big to be lifted.
Big, big. Okay. I was like, it can't be tall. Okay. Man. Grassroots rugby. They're lifting Hattie. That's crazy. I think about it all the time, actually. I do, especially when I'm doing something obnoxious regarding the line out, and then you have an opinion, and I'm like, first of all, oh no, actually. I'm so used to as a career long hooker, I'm so used to having to tell people to stop talking.
No, I can. Yeah.
And you've actually experienced this agony. I think we are being given the light by my dog being mad at me.
Yeah, my dog is crying.
Your dog is crying. Well, she has shit on the floor.
No, it's not time for poop yet.
All right, folks, if you enjoyed this poop chat, the part where we talked about rugby, the part where they don't let us ever make another episode because we promised our producers that we would stop doing this and then didn't. Remember, if anybody complains about this episode, you are both transphobic and homophobic. Yeah, we're leaving it at that. So with that, thank you so much for joining us. I really hope that the parts of this that weren't goofy resonated with you. I hope that if you are a member of the transgender community or an ally, which I hope encapsulates everybody, I hope that it mattered. And I really encourage you to go look at those pieces that were better than mine. Other than that, thank you so much. We are going to be back with our regularly scheduled stuff soonish.
We have a regular schedule?
We have a regular schedule. It's that one of us remembers to get in the chat and say we haven't podcasted. When we do that next, we will be talking more about rugby. We will be talking about Celtic Challenge. We will be talking about PWR. I'm sure things will have happened. As we said in our last episode, we have WBR dates, so we know that's coming down the pike, but not until May. We have a lot to talk about. We're excited. We're really glad you're here, and we're really glad that you're part of the rugby community. Anybody who's listening to this, unless you're a transphobe. Thanks, guys.